County Public Library. And in today's Tuesday Crafternoon video, I've got yet another new hand-stitched card pattern for you. This time, since we're looking at September, it's the time when we start seeing a lot of monarch butterflies around. I thought we would do a butterfly with blossoms. Now this does have, 4 different colors in it. And the take and make kits will at least have small amounts of the smaller portions that we have here. But we will have take and make kits available in September for this pattern, including the cardstock, the embroidery floss, the pattern, the instructions, everything you need, except, the scissors, the needle, the thread. Actually, you get the thread, scratch that, and the tape. So what you're going to need to make this is, as always, you're taking a piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock and cutting it in half this way. Then each half gets folded. You will need the pattern, which, as I said, will be in the kit, or you will be able to find it in a notebook at the reference desk and make a copy of it. It helps to have a piece of cardboard to slip under the cardstock to protect your table, because you're using a very sharp awl to poke out the holes. You will need your embroidery floss, needle, scissors, and tape. So with all of that, let's get started. So for this card, what I'm going to do is start with the stems and leaves. So we've got a little bit of stem up here, a couple of stems here. Those are just simple straight stitches. And then the 3 leaves down here are the reach stitch. So we're going to start with 1 hole and reach forward 6 holes to go down. And then do that back and forth, so this curve layers up. So I'm going to start up top. I'll take my needle through from the back. So I can tape down the end. So the stems, like I said, they're real quick. They're just simple stitches, 1 point to the next. So we have that one. And then we'll come down to the lower stems. Let's see, these go all the way to the bottom hole here for the leaves. All right, so there's the stems. And now I like to start from the outer point of the leaves and work my way back in. So we'll start here and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 holes and down. Move forward 1 hole. And then go back 6 holes. Forward 1 hole, and forward 6 holes. Forward 1 hole, and back 6 holes. Now this pattern is just repeated through each of the leaves. And I know it can be kind of confusing at first. We've had a couple of in-person stitching programs where some folks have had some difficulty figuring out that back and forth. So let me finish up this leaf and I'll try to explain it a little bit better. Just got 1 more stitch here. All right, so let me jump over to the other side. Start one of those leaves. Okay, so the reach is mostly happening on the top. You're doing your counting up here. So I'm reaching forward 6 holes. When you flip it over to the back, you are always moving 1 hole forward. Flip it back to the front, and this time we reach back 6 holes. So the reach number is always on the top. On the bottom, it's always 1 hole. On the top, you are alternating between moving forward and back, forward and back, forward and back. And that's what helps you advance the stitch. On the back, you are always moving forward that 1 hole. That's what moves you to the next hole. So this time we move back and forward and forward and forward and back. Forward. Oops. To not catch the previous thread. Forward. Forward. And back. No, I guess that's all there was on that one. We'll take that one back through and go to the next leaf. All right, so again, we're reaching 6, forward. On the back, you go forward 1 hole. On the front, you go back 6. Forward 1. If I can get it through the hole. Forward 6. Now, if when you come back up, you can't remember, am I going forward or am I going back? This will help you. If you are coming up at the end of your previous stitches, you need to go back. If you are, let's see, coming up, if I can get the hole, there we go. If you're coming up in the middle of all your stitches, you're moving forward because that is helping you move on to the next stitch so that the next stitch coming back starts filling in that gap and you keep advancing down the line. Now I've just run out, so I'm going to stop here and tape that off. Maybe. Come on, tape. And trim the end. And I'll go back and finish the green later, but at this point, I want to move on to my next color. So I think this time I'm going to use my dark brown for the body and the antennae of the butterfly. And again, these are all very straight, simple lines. So let's start here with one antenna. I'll tape that down. Okay, so the 2 lines here come to a V. So there's one side. And here's the other side. And then from here we've got 2 more holes for the body. So I'll just go to the next one. And down to the last. Come back up and finish that line. That's all there is to that one. So we'll just tape that down. And now I want to do the butterfly. So the butterfly has 4 parts to the wings, and each one of these is going to be stitched as a half and half stitch. Now, they don't look like even shapes where the 2 halves are mirror sections of each other, but they do have an even number of holes going around. So that is going to help us start in one place, go halfway around, go down, and then gradually build up this spiral to fill it in. So I've actually marked on my card where I need to start and where I'm going to, because it's kind of hard for you to see sometimes when it's not an even shape. But a lot of times you're starting at kind of the high point of a shape that's curved. So we're going to start up here. And let's tape that down. And then I'm coming across to this hole, which is the halfway point. And now what I'm going to do is, I like to put my stitches in clockwise. So if this is my first stitch, moving forward to me is going to the next hole over here, and then coming back up here, moving clockwise 1 hole, crossing over, moving clockwise 1 hole, crossing over, and so forth. So how that ends up looking is like this. And remember, on the back, just like with the reach stitch, on the back you are always advancing 1 hole. And it should always be in the same direction, no matter which side of this oval you're on. And with his half and half stitch, you are always crossing over the middle. So I've moved forward 1, I'm going to cross over the middle to the next hole that's open over here, and go down, advancing 1 hole on the back, crossing over the middle to the next open hole over here, and so on around the circle. Now, I get that this can sometimes be a tricky stitch. So you just want to take your time, make sure you're always going in the same direction, and you'll get it to look nice and neat like that. And then from here, I can move on to this hole and start working on this part of the wing. And it's the same thing. From one side to the halfway point, move forward 1 hole, cross over, advance 1 hole, cross over, and that's going to pretty much run me out of thread again. So I will just stop there and tape it off and trim it. But once you've got the hang of that, you're doing that with all 4 of these. So I'll be back in a moment to work on the flowers. The last thing we have to do on the card is going to be the flowers, and all of these are exactly the same. What we have for each of these is a circle of 8 holes, and so what I'm going to do with these is treat these kind of like a half and half. So what that means is I'm going to start at 1 hole, and on this one you can just pick whichever hole you want. There's not really a top or a bottom on most of them, so you can just decide where you want to start and how you want to do this. But wherever you start, you're going to go directly across, which is 4 holes, and go down. And then move forward on the back 1 hole, cross over to that hole. On the back, you move forward 1 hole, cross over here, come up the next, and cross over to the last hole. So if you think of where you start as hole number 1, and you move forward 4 holes, you're coming up at hole number 5. Excuse me, you go down at 5, you come up at 6, cross over back to 2, come up at 3, cross over here to 7, come up at 8, cross over to 4. Now, if thinking of it that way doesn't work for you, let's see, we come up at 12 o'clock, cross over to 6 o'clock. And then we're going to move to, let's say, 7:30, since it's somewhere between 7 and 8. And come up to 1:30. Down to 3 o'clock, cross over to 9 o'clock, come up at 11 o'clock, 11:30, and cross over to 4:30. If you want to think of it as a clock, you can do it that way. But all of these circles are going to get stitched that exact same way, all the way through here. So I will spare you the boredom of watching me do every single one of them. But that's the basics. That's how you make this butterfly and blossom card. Now, like I said, this will be a take and make for September. I don't remember the exact Monday it's going to be, somewhere mid-month, I think. Our calendar of events has not been updated just yet. We're kind of waiting for the go-ahead on the fall programs, but fairly soon you will be able to see what date it is exactly. It is not something you're going to have to register for. Once they are available, whichever Monday that is, let me think about that real quick. I believe it's the 18th. Don't hold me to that. I think it'll be September 18th. On that day, the kits will be put out at the reference desk, and you can stop and pick one up. It's just 1 kit per person per family. And they'll be out there for 2 weeks or until they run out. Like I said, it'll have the instructions, the pattern, all the things you're going to need to make the cards. So I hope you'll get a chance to stop by and pick up one of those, or at least pick up the pattern so that you can go home and try this for yourself. In the meantime, I hope you will stay healthy, be kind, and as always, get creative. Bye-bye.